What's going on, guys? Back with a quick video today. Going to be working on the KLX300. Picked up a front sprocket for it the other day. The stock sprocket is a 14 tooth. I'm going to be swapping that out for a 13 tooth. The main objective here is just to try and get this bike to have a little bit more low end power, a little bit more low end grunt through some of the slower trails that I've encountered. Right now I find myself having to use the clutch a little bit too much, and I'd like to see if that helps anything out a little bit there. So this is a pretty basic install, but for anyone out there with the KLX300s or something similar, probably pretty much the same kind of installation for most dirt bikes or on off-road bikes. But I'll just go through the motions and show you what I got. Alright, so here's the front sprocket that I'll be installing today. It's a ProTech 13 tooth. Picked this up off of eBay from one of the sellers on there for like I think it was 24 bucks or something like that. The tools that I'll be using today to do the installation are a 1/2 inch drive impact, 1/2 inch drive ratchet, 27 millimeter socket, a 22 millimeter socket, needle nose pliers, 12 millimeter wrench, 1/4 inch drive ratchet with a 1/4 inch drive extension, and 8 millimeter socket. Should be basically everything you need here to get this installation complete. Alright, for the first thing that I'm going to do is remove this front sprocket cover here, which is held on by two 8 millimeter bolts. Alright, now that I got that removed, I'm going to take off this 27 millimeter nut. Alright, next step is going to be to remove this cotter key and loosen up the axle using a 27 millimeter socket and the 22 millimeter socket on the left side of the bike. Now that we got that loosened up, we'll loosen up these tensioners here on the left and right side of the bike. Alright, so now that we got the tensioners loosened up, we should be able to just kind of pull on this chain a little bit and draw the front tire or the back tire towards the front a little bit, and just snake this sprocket out of here. Just like so. Now we'll put the other one in its place. Make sure that the kind of raised side goes towards the engine. You want this to be offset a little bit. It's an offset type sprocket. So you want it to, you know, kind of be pushed away from the motor, if you will. And there you are. Don't forget your 27mm nut. Now this washer that comes off of here, you kind of end up having to bend that over. That keeps the nut from ultimately backing off. Once I get this snugged up, I'll just kind of form that over one of the flat spots on the nut to keep everything secured there. Alright, so I got the tensioners all tightened up again. I'd like to mention too, though, before you loosen these up, to take the slack off, to put some slack into the chain, take a mental note of the markings that are kind of inscribed on the swing arm here, and just make sure that, you know, when you go back to and adjusting these, that they're basically in the same location as they were when you took it off. Of course, unless you've got a ton of slack in your chain, or your chain has already been stretched out. And but since this bike is, you know, relatively new and doesn't have a lot of miles on it, there's not really much stretch in the chain yet, so I'm able to still go right to the factory settings that were on here originally. So yeah, just take mental note of that, where those markings are, before loosening those up. So now I've got all the tension back on the chain. Going to tighten this 27mm nut up and put that cotter key in. Alright, got everything tightened back up. Cotter keys installed. Now we'll move on to the front, reinstall the front chain sprocket cover. Alright, put the front cover back on. Don't forget this little, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like a chain guide or whatever. Keep the chain from jumping off possibly if it loosens up. Make sure you put that back on there. Alright, so got everything tightened up. Everything's sorted out now. So let's run it around the yard and see how it feels. Yeah, it's got a little bit low end, a little bit more low end power. Not even on the clutch right now. I'm doing about 5 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour. But there's just some spots where I ride, or I have been riding, that are, you know, maybe a little bit muddier. You kind of have to, you know, I want to try and take it a little bit easier on them, and don't want to have to work the clutch as much. So, and the trails that I got set up in my backyard here, or in my back of my property, are pretty good example of some of the other things that'll be encountered. See, I'm kind of just, yeah, I'm completely off the clutch right now. I'm just kind of chugging along, which is exactly what I'm trying to do here. See, I'd actually have to be holding the clutch in right now, just to ever so slightly, kind of feathering the clutch just to keep it going like it is right now. So this is seemed to do the trick here. A 13 tooth on the front sprocket, give you that little bit of the low end power that you might be seeking, or at least I was seeking, and maybe you will too. So that'll do it for now though, but I appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned for more content. Talk to you on the next one.